This presentation has been prepared for the attendees such as the Dean of Technical Universities from Turkey, Greece and Cyprus, their students, their graduates, the Director of Trade of Commerce, Turkey and Greece, the government representatives from Egypt, Israel, Lebanon, United States of America, European Community, and the representatives from the Horn of Africa states. Unless a permanent peace is reached between Turkey, Greece and Cyprus, a military confrontation is inevitable. As US Ambassador to Athens, Geoffrey Payat, during 2018 illustrated the risk as, I'm quoting, upgrades to weapon systems over the past few decades mean the region hosts one of the world's highest concentration of high-tech arms, including 67 surface ships, 2 dozens of submarines, 448 fighter jets armed with smart bombs and guided missiles, all in and over the water same size as Superior Lake. This means that at any given time there are around 500 military officers who might get involved in a military confrontation. This is a huge risk. That's why we have developed a project, not only to mitigate the risk between these parties, but also to establish a trust which might evolve to a permanent peace between these parties. At first, we have to understand the problem in the Aegean Shelf and also in Cyprus. In Aegean Shelf, the problem is about the status of the islands and the maritime border limits. During 1982, Greece has signed a UN Convention of the Law of the Sea, which defines their rights from 6 miles to 12 miles, including the exclusive economic zone, we will refer EEZ, with 200 miles. This basically makes the Aegean Shelf as a Greek lake. Turkey cannot accept such convention due to the reason that it limits its naval capabilities. That's why Turkey hasn't signed the convention up until today. The borders between two countries are usually fixed after the war. The treaties are signed, a status quo is reached, and after this, usually after some time, one of the parties tries to change the status quo, which evolves to a military conflict, and then a new treaty and a new status quo is reached. The Treaty of Lausanne, which is signed during 1923, settled the conflict between the Ottoman Empire and the Kingdom of Greece. In Turkey, it has been a long debate if the Treaty of Lausanne is a success or not. Either people call it success or not, the recent UN Sea Convention poses a threat, and everybody agrees about that, because it limits the naval capabilities. And President Erdogan also thinks that Lausanne Treaty is a failure. While an official visit to Greece during the early 2018, President Erdogan openly expressed his feeling about it. I'm quoting, "First and foremost, the Lausanne Treaty does not only encompass Greece, but the entire region. And because that alone, I think over the time, all treaties need a revision. The Lausanne Treaty, in the face of recent developments, needs a revision, if you will. For obvious reasons, from Turkish point, it makes a sense. In response to Erdogan's statements, the Greek president, Pavlopoulos, stated that the Treaty of Lausanne defines the territory and the sovereignty of not only Greece, but also the European Community. That's why it is non-negotiable. Turkey is not going to drop its claims. Greece is not going to renegotiate the treaty. That's why these facts intensify a military confrontation in the Aegean shelves at any time. Cyprus is not like Aegean problem, it's the ethnicity problem. After following the independence in 1960, the nationalism evolved among the Greek Cypriots. The violence occurred, there were a lot of killings. Turkey stepped into Ireland, divided the island into two. The northern part now belongs to Turkic populace, the southern part belongs to Greek populace. Since 2000, there were a lot of promising seismic studies, which shows that there is a great potential of oil and gas around Cyprus. This complicates the problems between Greeks, Turks, and also Cyprus. Therefore, we do not believe that neither party will basically let other parties to make seismic studies or drilling or explorations on the disputed waters. Thanks God that up until today, almost all of the drillings and explorations are done on undisputed waters. Let me illustrate an example how it is serious. During 2018, an Italian contractor named Eni came across the southern part of Cyprus on the disputed waters with an Italian Navy vessel. Turkey encountered the Navy vessel with the jammers and disturbs the I would say GPS and other radar systems. Therefore, they were left, or they were forced to leave the area. It was the first time that a NATO member, Turkey, intervenes with another NATO member, Italy, due to the oil and gas disputes, which they are not a part, but the third party contractor was Italian. It shows that Turkey will not compromise any developments, and it also shows how Turkey is serious about it. Also, it shows how Cyprus is serious about this. They want to access it. The solution that have been tried to engage with government authorities about the sovereignty issues are beyond our control and beyond our efforts and powers. That's why we will not try to do this. But we will now focus on how the economic cooperation lies mutual benefits. We are more interested that the oil commodity, oil and gas as a commodity, might contribute to peace, as the coal and steel contribute to peace within the European Union. It is obvious that the gas is going to contribute to European Union because it will reduce the Russian gas reliance. Also, it will help the Northern African, including the Horn of African states, because they will access the cheap energy. It will help their economy and it will stabilize the region. For Turkey, Greece and Cyprus, they are facing with big economic problems. It will help them to diversify the turnovers, so it will help the economic strength programs. For everybody, there is an interest. That's why the project has a feasibility. For the United States, it's more than important everybody has peace within the region, because they are trying to leave the region and focus on China. So once everybody has the interest, how we can make this project, we think a joint venture company between Greece, Turkey and Cyprus can be set, where the turnovers will be spent on the behalf of these three countries, for where they are all members of, such as NATO, World Trade Organizations, World Health Organizations, United Nations, and other organizations or aid programs. And even joint venture companies can be set up in order to conduct research and development projects such as solar powers, technological development programs, and other means like fishing, agriculture, and other things. That's why the project has a wide brand options for the states to consider how the turnover might be spent. The only thing they need to agree is about the shares, how they are going to do that. But if it is only business, where the joint venture will be, headquartered will be on a third country, including the account, it should be easy to agree with. The project doesn't intend to solve the sovereignty problem. We believe it is strongly beyond our limitations. But we can give a try around a business aspect. Like the European community used steel and coal as a bond for the peace, we can use oil and gas as a bond for the peace between Turkey, Greece and Cyprus. With the help of representatives from different organizations, it is feasible, viable, to encourage Turkey, Greece and Cyprus to sit around a table and pursue productive business relations. Thank you for sparing time.